So I was talking to this man, and when I say talking, I mean literally 3 days, not 3 months, not 3 years, 3 days, before I had to block him too. Child. I swear men do not even try to pretend no more. They don't even disguise the red flag, they just hand it to you, folded, with government stamp on it. So boom. I'm minding my business, being cute, posting my little art stuff, going to work, living my lil New Orleans life, right? I'm not even in, I want a man mode. I'm in if you want to come correct mode. He slides in my DMs off a story. It was a picture of my hair actually, which is so funny now. And he's like, your locks look real good, queen. I'm like, thank you, smiling face with smiling eyes. Nothing wild. I look at his page, he's a truck driver, he's Haitian, he's younger than me by like 3 to 4 years, he got a daughter, he posts his mom on Sundays, so I'm like, okay, cool, he looks normal. We start chatting, and he's consistent, I'll give him that. Good morning text, how your day going, send me a pic, you ate? I love that. I love men who check. That's my love language. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll entertain him. We go back and forth. I tell him I'm an art teacher, I sell my own pieces on the side, I do festivals, I paint second lines, all that. He's like, that's dope, I love that. He's telling me about driving across states, about doing long hauls, about how he sends money back home. Real immigrant hustle, I respect it. Then day 3. Day 3. We're on FaceTime, right? I'm taking my hair down, just playing with it, and I mention, not ask, mention. I'm thinking about combing these locks out or maybe combining them. I kinda want a different look for summer. He goes, nah, don't do that. I said, He goes, I don't want you to change your hair. I like it like that. I said, baby, I wasn't asking you. Real sweet. Real polite. Real, I said what I said. Because I really wasn't. I was literally just telling him what I was thinking of doing to MY head that sits on MY neck that God gave me. He said, yeah, but I say no. I said, you say who? Neutral face. He said it so calm, like he was ordering food. I say no. Like, sir, are you my dad? Are you my parole officer? Who are you? So I laughed because I thought he was playing. I said, boy, bye. And he didn't laugh. He goes, I'm serious. I don't like when my women change up. When I meet you, that's how I want you. And right there, the little red siren went off in my head. Because that's not preference. That's ownership. It's I want to freeze you in the version I met you, so I can control the variables. I know that voice. I've met that voice before. So I go, okay, but you do know you just got here, right? Like you're brand new. You don't get to say what I do with my hair. He goes, I already told you. I'm controlling. I said, oh, you admitting it? Out loud. Because most of them be like, I'm just traditional, or I just like feminine women. No, he said the quiet part. I'm controlling. I said, okay, what that mean to you? Because me, I like to let people talk. You don't have to interrogate men, just let them speak. They'll tell you why you shouldn't date them. He goes, it mean I'm the man. So I make the decisions. I don't care if you older than me. I don't care if you make more money than me. I don't care if you got your own house. If you with me, you listen to me. That's respect. I said, respect or obedience? He said, same thing. I said, no, it's not. Face with tears of joy. He said, if I tell you no, it's no. You want to change your hair? I tell you no. You want to go out with your friends? I tell you no. Sometimes I might tell you yes. Next time I might say no. That's it. I said, so I can't go to a museum? I can't go to Frenchman? I can't go to an art market? He goes, you can if I say you can. I said, for what reason would you tell me no? He said the scariest thing I've heard in a minute. Just to say no. Just so you remember I can. And that's when I knew I was done. Because it's not even about cheating. It's not about your safety. It's not, I don't want you out at 3 a.m. in a bad part of town. It's, I want to control your movement just to prove I can. That's abuse with no seasoning. That's day 1 playbook. So I said, you do know I'm grown, right? He goes, I don't care. I'm the man. Heavy accent, too. When Gaysonin. You go have to listen. I said, no I don't. He said, then I don't want it. I said, okay. Face with tears of joy. But he kept going. He was like, see, American women, y'all don't respect authority. Where I'm from, if the man say something, you do it. And I said, where you from they also don't have me. I pay my own bills. I drive my own car. I plan my own trips. I'm not coming down from that just because you got a beard and a truck. He got mad. Now he's sending voice notes. Full Creole. I speak a little bit. I done dated enough Caribbean men, so I caught fak faya kut. Li pants laviv pokant li, esse pa mache avam. Translation: woman gotta listen. She thinks she living for herself. That don't work with me. I said, oh, you really be like this? He goes, yeah. My woman not going everywhere. I give her money to go out, next time she stay home. I said, see, that's dumb. That's not partnership. That's parenting. He goes, exactly. I'm the head. You follow. I said, you do this with all your girlfriends? He said, yeah. My baby mama too. I said, you have a daughter, right? You said she's 7? He said, yeah, my princess. I said, so you gon' teach her that too? That a man can tell her no just to tell her no? Without missing a beat, he said, yeah. She need to know how to respect her man. I swear to God my stomach dropped. Because I saw it. I saw that little girl at 23 calling me crying like, he won't let me go to brunch. I saw her thinking that love equals asking for permission. I saw generational submission. And I was like, oh no baby, I'm not reinforcing that. And while we talking, this is the creepy part, I see his name pop up on my IG story views multiple times. Like back to back. Like he's rewatching. He goes, where you at? I said, at home. He said, no you not, that video not your house. I said, oh so you tracking me? He said, I gotta know where my woman at. I said, I am not your woman. We've been talking 3 days. He said, 3 days is enough. I know what I want. I said, well I know what I don't want. He said, you American women, y'all want to be men. I said, no. I want to be a woman who can go to an art festival without texting you daddy can I go. He decided that was disrespect. He goes, look, I don't care how old you are. You could be 40. If you with me, you under me. I said, nah, that ain't it. He said, then block me. I said, say less. Blocked. Because I am not about to sit here and explain my humanity to somebody who is committed to misunderstanding it. I'm not about to negotiate freedom. I'm not going to be arguing with a 29-year-old about whether I can change my hair. You ain't buy it. You ain't twist it. You ain't oil it. You ain't sit under no dryer. You don't get a vote. So yesterday I go on a date. And when I say go on a date, I mean I matched with this guy like 5 hours before. That's it. Not weeks of chatting, not voice notes, not FaceTiming, 5 hours. We were in that early Delulu. Wow, convo's flowing, maybe this will be cute stage. You know when the texts are easy? He was funny, a little random, but in a good way. We were bouncing jokes, sending memes, talking about food, and he was like, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, honestly nothing. And he goes, let's grab a drink then. And because I have main character syndrome and zero self-preservation, I said, sure, YWLO. We picked this bar that's not far from me. 8 p.m., very chill, very last minute. Let's see what this is. And before anyone says, why didn't you make him come to you? Listen, sometimes I actually like getting dressed and going somewhere. I had on a cute top, hair was good, I smelled nice, let's not waste it. Now this is important. I am one of those girls who refuses to go inside before the man gets there. I don't care. I will sit in the car like an undercover cop. I will do laps around the block. I will pretend to text. I am not walking into a bar alone and doing that awkward stand by the hostess thing while strangers watch me get stood up. No, I will sit in my vehicle like a lady. So I get there at like 8:05. I text him, hey, I'm here, where are you? And then nothing. I'm like, okay, maybe he's parking. Maybe he's walking. Maybe his phone died. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Still nothing. And I'm not panicking yet, but I'm doing that thing where you unlock your phone for no reason, just to feel in control. I call my friend like, girl, am I getting stood up? She's like, wait 10 more minutes. So now we're at 20 minutes. I'm still in the car. I'm hungry. I'm annoyed. I'm literally about to drive off because I'm not doing this. And right when I'm about to put the car in drive, my phone rings. It's him. He goes all casual, hey, where you at? I said, where am I at? Where are you at? He's like, oh, I've been here the whole time. Sir? He goes, yeah, I forgot my phone upstairs in my apartment, so I just came and I thought you'd be here. I said, so you came to the bar without your phone for a first date and just hoped? Like that was the plan? To vibe and pray? Also, you live close enough to walk. You could have gone back upstairs? But for some reason I gave him a chance. I don't know if it was boredom or curiosity or the fact that he actually sounded cute on the phone, but I was like, okay, I'm still here, come back. 10 minutes later he shows up. And when I tell you this man was high, like eyes glossy, delayed reaction, what were we talking about again, high? Not like, I hit a vape once. Like, I smoked in the car and then forgot what street I was on. Also, and this is important, he smelled like weed and vodka. At 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. That combo alone should have sent me home. But no, I go in with him. We sit. We order drinks. I'm trying to restart the cute text energy, but in person he is not the same. It's like his brain had 3 tabs open and all of them were buffering. I'd ask, so how long have you lived here? And he'd be like, you ever been spear fishing? I'm like? Then he'd hear the table next to us doing trivia, like bar trivia, and he'd start answering their questions. Loudly, like we were all at one table. I'm mid-sentence and he's yelling, it's Alaska, across the room. I wanted to disappear. And then it just turns into a trauma TED talk. I didn't even ask. I didn't say, tell me your deepest fears. I said, what do you do for fun? And he goes, honestly, sometimes I just think about like, if I met a shark in the ocean, I'd probably just let it eat me. Sir? He goes, like, you ever think about that? Like if it was just you and the shark was like, this is your time, like I'd just go with it. I'm sipping my drink like, I literally asked you what your hobbies are. Then he starts talking about money. How he doesn't know how he's gonna pay off his mortgage, how his job might cut hours, how he hates that everything's expensive. Which, okay, same, but maybe not on a first date. Maybe open with favorite movies first? I try to swing it back to normal. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually trying to buy a house this year. Just small talk. He immediately goes, oh, how much are you gonna charge? I said, charge who? He goes, like me if I moved in. Slightly smiling face. Sir, I have known you 2 hours. You just forgot your phone at home and came to a date high. Why would I let you co-tenant my mortgage? He said it so casual too, like, I'll just move in. You will not. Meanwhile, he keeps getting distracted. Like I'd be talking, and he'd just stare at the TV over my head. Not even watching it, just staring. Then he'd be like, sorry, I space out when I smoke. You don't say. At this point I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. I go to pay for my drink, we stand up, we walk outside. And now I realize he is more high than I thought. Like walking a little slow, blinking too hard, trying to be normal. He's like, where'd I park? I'm like, you tell me? He's looking around confused like he's in a video game. I'm a decent human, so I'm like, do you want me to drive you home? He goes, yeah, that'd be great. I just live right there. So he gets in my car. And this is the part that made me go, I am too nice. Because I did not have to. I could have said, call an Uber. But no, I drove him. We get to his place, I put the car in park, and he just sits. I'm like, you can get out now. He goes, oh, right. Then he grabs the door handle, listen to me, and cannot open it. Like actually cannot figure it out. I had to lean over and open my own passenger door for a grown man. You know how embarrassing that is? It felt like dropping a toddler off at daycare. Before he got out he goes, we should do this again. And I said, yeah, for sure, because I'm a liar when I'm uncomfortable. And he goes, cool. Next time I'll tell you about my dad. Sir, next time? There will not be a next time. You didn't even make this time. He gets out, stumbles a little, waves, goes inside. I drive off, and I'm literally laughing to myself in the car. Like full out loud laugh. Because this is the dating pool. Men who forget their phones, show up high, trauma dump about sharks, hint at moving into your house, and can't open car doors. And the craziest part? If I tell this story to a man, he'll be like, that's a one-off. If I tell this story to a woman, she'll be like, yeah, I met his cousin. So, picture this. I'm in Boston, I match with this guy on Hinge. He's handsome, like actually handsome, not good for the app. Tall, dark hair, good teeth obviously, good skin, stylish coat, the whole I work in a nice office and I have a 401k thing. In his profile he put Columbia Dental, and I was like, okay, dentist and Ivy-ish? Yes, we will be attending. Because I am poor and I want nice dental advice. First date is normal. He's charming, a little reserved, has that New York polish, asks me about my research. I told him I was doing my PhD, and usually men's eyes glaze over, but he was like, oh, in what field? So already he was better than 80% of them. We talk about Boston versus New York, about stupid rent, about whether you actually need a car here, all cute. He mentions he's divorced, but he says it so light. Yeah, I was married, it didn't work out. That I didn't really clock it. Lots of people get divorced young. I was like, okay, adult man, love that you're honest. No biggie. Then comes date 2. We meet at a wine bar. I should have been suspicious because men only pick wine bars when they're about to confess. I sit down, he looks a little tired, a little sad, but not like depressed, just like a man whose Spotify Wrapped was lo-fi for overthinkers. We order. We start talking about travel, family, nothing crazy. And then I go super casually, so you said you were divorced, if you don't mind me asking what happened. And he goes, yeah, okay, so this is gonna sound bad. When a man starts a sentence with this is gonna sound bad, leave. Leave your coat. Leave the charcuterie. Go home. But I was curious, and I'm nosy, so I stayed. He takes this long breath and goes, we met in dental school. We were together almost 10 years. We got married after 9. I was like, wow, that's a whole era. That's college part 2. That's a person you've grown up with. That's holidays, family, group chats. 10 years is not we tried. 10 years is we merged our Costco cards. He keeps going. She was amazing. Smart, driven, beautiful. My family loved her. Her family loved me. So far so normal. Then he goes, but once we got married, the sex got really vanilla. I said, oh, we're doing this. On date 2. Okay. He's like, she wanted it, but it was routine. Same thing. I don't know. I felt like she didn't see me like a man anymore. It was like checking a box. And listen, I can kind of understand getting bored. That's human. That's when adults talk and say, hey, how do we spice it up? That's when you go to Miami together, you don't go to Reddit. Guess what he did? He goes, so I started browsing. Not porn, like, not sites. Just Reddit. He literally said it like Reddit is church. Like, I wasn't sinning, I was on Reddit. Sir, Reddit is not the safe option. He's like, I found this subreddit, r/gone wild. And I was like SIR, not by name. And I would just look. At first. And then I started commenting. Then I started messaging. This man fully fell in love in the comments section. He said there was this one girl. She was in California. Married. Did spicy content, not like full-time but enough. And they started DMING. Like daily. Like good morning and good night, and what are you eating, and I wish it was me. He said she saw him. She was enthusiastic. She made him feel like a man. All the things his wife apparently didn't. I'm sitting there like, okay, but you had a wife. He goes, I know. Like he's telling me about cavities. I know you should floss. Like cheating is just a dental recommendation. Then it gets worse. He says one weekend his wife went to a conference. Dental thing. Gone for like 3 days. And he thought, this is the perfect chance. He buys a plane ticket for the girl. From California. To New York. For a woman he has never met in person. That he met in the comments. On a subreddit. For boobs. I was like, how much was the flight? He said $700, like it hurt him more to say the price than the betrayal. So she comes. They sleep together. Obviously. He said it was amazing, she was wild, blah blah. You know, he described it too much. Men always describe the part they feel guilty about. Then, because the universe is undefeated, his wife finds out. She was supposed to be gone for 3 days. She comes back early. Or she checked something. I couldn't tell if he slipped or she saw the flight confirmation, but either way she knew. She was devastated. 10 years. Gone. She gives him the ultimatum, the one every cheated on wife gives, her or me. And guess what he picks? Not the woman he built a home with. Not the woman who knew him when he was broke in school. Not the woman whose parents loved him. He picked the girl from Reddit he had seen in person once. He said it so soft too. I chose her. I wanted to throw my wine. I wanted to grab him by his perfect dentist collar and go, why? And he goes, because I thought it was real. She made me feel wanted. My wife was just married to me. She wasn't hungry for me. I'm sorry, but she wasn't hungry for me, is the most male sentence I have ever heard. So he leaves. He tells his wife, I pick her. Wife is heartbroken, obviously. Marriage over in like 5 business days. I'm sure there were lawyers. I'm sure there were aunties calling. And Mr. Columbia Dentist goes off into the sunset with his California Reddit lover. Except this part made me actually want to laugh in his face, but I was being nice. The Reddit girl did not leave her husband. She stayed. She kept her husband. She kept her family. She kept her life. And entertained him on the side. He was the side quest. He blew up his marriage to become someone's little internet situationship. He said they dated for like 6 months. LDR. He would fly out, she would fly in. And the whole time he was waiting for her to say, I left him. And she never did. She just kept being like, it's complicated. He's sick. We have a house. We're not ready. And at some point he realized, oh, I ruined my life for a person who wasn't willing to ruin hers. While he's telling me this, remember, second date, I see his eyes getting glassy. I'm like, no way. No way you are about to cry over your online girlfriend in front of a woman you just met. He did. Little tear. He even laughed and apologized like, sorry, it was a lot. And I was like, was it a lot, or was it consequences? And then, this was the creepiest part, he pulled out his phone to show me pictures. From that weekend. Like her in New York. Her at the hotel. Not nudes, thank God, but like normal touristy pics. I was like, why do you still have those? He goes, I just never deleted them. He said it like someone talking about vacation photos. Not the affair that ended his marriage. And it hit me right there. Oh, you're not over anybody. Not your wife. Not this girl. Not the version of yourself you were at 25. You are just dating around Boston, trying to fill the space. I am not a date. I am a rebound research project. I was in that phase where my life was actually fine. Like I liked my job, I liked my apartment, I liked my friends, I went to Pilates, I looked cute, but dating made me feel like I was 14 again. I just did. Not date. I would go on maybe 2 dates a year. And they were always these weird, half-hearted ones I let people talk me into. I would download Hinge, look around, get overwhelmed, delete it. Rinse, repeat. And it wasn't because I thought I was ugly or unlovable or whatever. That was the crazy part. I was actually very confident in literally everything else. My body? Love her. My career? I know I'm good. Friendships? Solid. But the second it was romantic, I would shrink. Like suddenly I'm shy, suddenly I need 3 weeks to answer a hey text, suddenly I can't pick a restaurant. It was like my confidence had a domain restriction and dating was outside the VPN. So one day I matched with this guy on Hinge. Let's call him Adrian, because he had very much French, but lives in a big US city now and rides a bike. Energy. We go on a first date. It's fine. He's smart, funny, a little too observant for my taste. You know how some people are just looking at you? Not in a creepy way, but in a I see how your brain moves way. I clocked it, but I was like, whatever, he's cute. We go on a second date, which for me at the time was a huge thing. Like I never made it to second dates. I was the queen of, it was nice meeting you, and then disappearing. So we're on date 2, drinks, nice spot, I'm telling a story, and out of nowhere he goes, you know you're actually really insecure about dating, right? I said neutral face. Excuse me? He said it so casual too. Like he was saying, you have brown hair. No build up, no gentle, can I tell you something? Nothing. Just vibes and audacity. I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, you're very sure of yourself in other areas. But with dating, I can tell you don't think you're good at it. You overthink. You're too careful. You're trying to say the right thing. And I wanted to argue so bad. I wanted to be like, no, I just don't like people. Or no, I just haven't met the right guy. Or no, I'm just busy. But the thing is, he got me. Like completely clocked me. In 2 dates. Men will know nothing about their own mothers, but they will read you like a book. So I did the mature thing. I ghosted him. I know. But I felt exposed. Like someone had pulled the curtain back and saw me standing there like, actually, I don't know what I'm doing. It wasn't even that he said it. It was that he was right and I didn't want to think about it. Now here's the gag. Not even a month later, I start seeing this other guy. Not even seeing. We were doing activities. That's it. We did not go out. We did not dress up. It was very you up. Yeah. And it was fine. It was what it was. Until one day we're in bed and he goes, I found your TikTok. I'm like, okay, because I wasn't hiding it. And he goes, it's funny. You're so like, confident on there. Boss energy. But in real life you're kinda not like that. I said, OH. So y'all had a meeting? Did men hold a conference? Did y'all get together and decide to tell me? Because now that is 2 men in less than 30 days saying basically the same thing. You are confident everywhere except when you like someone. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to actually look at this. So I call my best friend. I'm like, we need to fix my dating problem. She's like, you don't have a dating problem, you just don't date. I'm like, exactly. That's the problem. Because what I realized, and this is the part that stung, was that I wasn't bad at dating, I was inexperienced at dating. I had kept myself so safe that I never actually got good at it. I was acting like every first date had to be the date. So of course I was nervous. Of course I was rigid. I never let it be casual. So we decided to make it a game. We opened a Google Sheet because we're psychopaths, and we made actual columns: name, app, date, location, rating, red flags, green flags, kissed, follow-up, notes. And the rule was 1 date a week. Every week. No excuses. Didn't matter where you got the date from, app, IG, a friend, you met him at Trader Joe's, whatever. If you went, it counted. Second rule, you can count a second date toward the quota if you want to see him again. But, and this was the important part, third dates didn't count. Because we didn't want to get stuck on one guy for 6 weeks, and then find out he lives with his ex. We wanted exposure therapy. And listen, that spreadsheet changed me. Because when you take the pressure off of, this has to be the one, you actually act like yourself. I stopped spending 3 hours getting ready. I stopped doing the, what should I text back if he says this, with 8 friends. I just went. Sometimes it was coffee. Sometimes it was drinks. Sometimes it was 45 minutes of me realizing he was in tech sales and had no personality. Sometimes it was great. And I noticed by like week 3, I wasn't anxious anymore. I was literally like, okay, next. We even did it together sometimes. We would go to the same restaurant, sit on different sides, both on separate dates, and then meet in the bathroom and whisper, he's so short, or he's actually nice. It was hilarious. We made TikToks about it. We made it fun. And all that, I'm nervous, what if he doesn't like me, energy just left. We did that for 6 months. 6. And I was like, damn, I'm actually dating now. Not situation shipping. Not trauma bonding. Real, regular dating. I was proud of me. Then one day I re-download Hinge, because I had deleted it during one of my I am healed moments. And you know how when you come back it shows you people you used to match with? Guess. Who? Shows up. Mister, you're insecure about dating. I literally laughed. I was like, of course it's you. Of course the man who called me out is still here. I almost skipped him because petty, but then I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna tell him. So I matched. I messaged him something like, look what you did. And he was like, what did I do? And I told him straight up, you said I was insecure about dating, so I went on 26 dates in 6 months to fix it. And he was like, you're insane. And I was like, yeah, but did it work? And he goes, sounds like it. And then like a movie, like a stupid rom-com, he goes, you want to get a drink and tell me about it? And I was like, yeah, I kinda do. Because now I wanted to show him. Not in a pick-me way, in a look how different I am way. I wanted to show him I wasn't that nervous little second date girl anymore. We met, and it was so different. I wasn't over-explaining. I wasn't trying to impress him. I wasn't tilting my head every time he spoke like a news anchor. I was just me. And he even said it. He was like, you're way more relaxed. And I was like, yeah, because I realized dating isn't special. You make it special. Otherwise, it's just talking to people. We kept seeing each other. And it actually worked. Like really worked. We started dating. Then we made it official. Then, and this is the part that makes people scream, I moved in with him. The man who told me I was insecure about dating became the man I date. Which is insane, but also kind of makes sense. Because he saw it. He saw me before I knew what it was. And low-key, I didn't need someone to say it. I needed someone to be like, you're not bad at this, you're just scared. And then I needed to go prove I wasn't scared anymore. Okay, so this is my Austin story. And before anybody says, why did you keep texting him? I need you to understand this man was delusionally cute. Like, he looked exactly how you think a Texas golden boy with a mullet and a mustache is gonna look. Like if Yellowstone had Wi-Fi. That's what he looked like. So I go to Austin a lot. I don't live there, but I'm there all the time because I love it. I have friends there. And I was in I'm gonna meet my husband in a different city because men in my city are broken, era. So I set my Bumble location to Austin ahead of time. I'm scrolling and I match with this man. Let's call him Cowboy Ghost. You'll see why. He had the whole thing, mullet, mustache, hat in one picture, truck in another, dog in another, looked tall, looked like he drinks ranch water and has a mom who loves him. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll risk it. On Bumble we have to message first, so I send something cute. I don't even remember what I said, probably something stupid like, I hope you can two-step because I can't. and this man does not respond. And Bumble has that little 24-hour timer on it, right? So we're getting down to like 2 hours left, and I'm like, okay, he's either busy or he's one of those men who wants you to chase. So I send my number. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be in Austin this weekend. Text me if you want to grab dinner. And he texts. Immediately. I was like, oh, so you just didn't want to type in the app. Okay. We're talking, vibes are good. I tell him I already have dinner reservations for me and my friend at this spot. I swear I don't even remember the name now. Let's just call it da-da-da because that's how I said it in my head. And I'm like, you should come join us. And he's like, oh my gosh, yes, I love that place. I will absolutely be there. Cool. I'm picturing him walking in, being charming, my friend being like, yes, me being like, told you I pull, you know. Then the weekend comes, and I hear nothing. Radio silence. I'm like, okay, he's busy. I go to dinner. I still hear nothing. I'm like, okay, L for me. Now this is where it gets funny. On his Bumble, he had his first and last name like a rookie. So of course I go to Instagram. I find him in like 4 seconds. And not only do I find him, I find out he is kind of a thing. Not like famous, but like Austin famous. He has a decent following, people comment. He does the little Texas boy TikToks. He posts his family, hunting, river days, the whole thing. And based on his Instagram, he looked like such a good guy. Like nice parents. Group photos. A sister. Sweet captions. I was like, maybe he just forgot. He did not forget. But while I'm scrolling his IG, I notice a girl. Not a hard launch. Not, this is my girlfriend. But that soft launch elbow plus lake vibe. You know, hat backwards, girl's hair in the corner, captions that are like Sunday's red heart, but no tag. And I'm like, But also, why would he be on Bumble if he had a girlfriend? I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, because I am dumb and optimistic. So months go by. Yes, months. I go back to Austin a couple of times. Every time I go, I text him. And yes, I know, I was sending like 4 blue texts in a row. I was down bad for no reason. I'd land and be like, honey, I'm home, face with hand over mouth like a clown. Do you know how unserious you have to be to text a man? I'm home, in a city you don't live in. Anyway, I text him like that, and finally he responds. This is after months of ignoring me. He goes, my blue-eyed baby is an ATX smiling face with hearts. Sir, excuse me? You could have answered any of the 4 other texts you left me on read for. But now I'm like, okay, maybe timing is finally right. He was busy, I'm here, let's go. He says his schedule is crazy, but he can do breakfast. I'm like, cool. Low stakes. He picks me up from my hotel, opens the door all sweet, whole southern gentleman thing, and we go to a bagel spot. He pays, which good, because bare minimum. And then nothing. I mean nothing. Conversation was dust. Do you understand me? This man did not ask me a single question about myself. I'm over here like, so how long have you been in Austin? What do you do? Are you close with your family? And he's like, yeah, yep, for sure. Sir, talk. I did not stalk your Instagram for this. We eat. I'm trying to drag conversation like I'm pulling furniture. And then he's like, do you want me to help you pack? I was leaving that day. I was like, sure, because I was thinking maybe we'll hang out a bit. He comes up to my room and we start making out. It's cute. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's just shy in public. Tell me why this man literally falls asleep. Like genuinely, we're kissing, and then he's just asleep. Head in my lap like a golden retriever. He worked nights the night before, so I get it, but it was still hilarious. I'm sitting there like, how did I end up babysitting a cowboy? He wakes up all soft. I tell him I want to chill at a coffee shop before my flight. He's like, I'll drop you. He drives me, kisses me on the forehead, and says, text me if you need a ride to the airport. And then, nothing. Again. Never heard from him. No, did you get home? No, nice to meet you. Vanished. I'm like, okay, whatever, this is why I don't date Texas men. Fast forward. I'm in the Facebook group, Are We Dating the Same Guy, Austin? I'm scrolling, being messy like everybody else, and I see his FAAC. I said OH. Oh, it was a long post from a girl saying she was exclusive with him. They were together, whole situationship, and he just straight up ghosted her, and she found out he was talking to multiple girls. The comments? Baby. I'm talking hundreds. Girls from months apart, years apart, all describing the exact same pattern. He was so sweet, he picked me up, we had breakfast, he never asked about me, then I never heard from him again. He had me thinking we were serious. He matched with me while he was with her. He messaged me from a different number. Same guy. Same mullet. Same mustache. And then I see her. The soft launch girl from Instagram. She comments. She posts the timeline. And I comment back like, hey girly grinning face with sweat, I went on a date with him during this time. And she's like, oh my god. So now we all realize he wasn't like single and chaotic. He was literally doing rotational ghosting. Like he would swoop in, love bomb a bit, pick you up, kiss your forehead, then disappear and do it to the next girl. Okay, so this is my Arizona story, aka the reason I stopped drinking with men I just met, and also the reason I can't even smell tequila without gagging. I swear every time I tell this story people think I'm exaggerating, but I have witnesses. Like real people saw this happen. I wish I was making it up. So backstory, I had just moved to Arizona, new apartment, new job, new everything. You know that stage where you're still using GPS to go to the grocery store? That was me. I didn't know a single soul out there. I was in my let me start dating again era, very much soft girl but please don't murder me. So I downloaded Hinge. Because obviously. So I matched with this guy. We're gonna call him Tyler, because of course that was his name. Tyler looked so normal. That's the problem. Men like this always look aggressively normal. He had a nice smile, worked in real estate, red flag number 1, I should have known. Had a dog, did hikes. All that Arizona stuff people pretend to enjoy. He messages me something corny like, you look like trouble in that dress. And I should have unmatched right there, but I was bored, so I didn't. We talk for a few days, vibes are decent. He asks me out to dinner and I'm like, sure. He picks a Mexican restaurant, cute spot, nothing too fancy, and I'm thinking, okay, this might actually be nice. He shows up on time, opens my door, compliments me, full gentleman. I remember thinking, oh my god, a normal date for once. That thought aged like milk. Dinner is actually going great. We're laughing, food's good, he's paying attention, asking questions. No red flags yet. He's cute in person too, like clean shaven, nice teeth, smells good. I'm sitting there like, okay, maybe Arizona isn't that bad. We finish dinner and he's like, some of my friends are down the street, want to grab a drink with them? And I'm like, sure, why not, let's keep it going. Big mistake. So we go to this bar, kind of loud, kind of dive-wide, but fun. The bartender knows him, he's calling him by name, and he's like, drinks are on me tonight. I should have left the second I heard free drinks. Because nothing good ever happens after free drinks. But the bartender is pouring shots like he's trying to win a speed record, and every time I finish one, he's handing me another. I'm like, okay, maybe it's water at this point. Spoiler, it wasn't. Tyler and his friends are being nice, we're all talking, laughing. Then the bartender goes, y'all want green tea shots? And I'm like, sure, because those are cute and light. Except this green tea shot comes out dark. Like murky pond water dark. I remember looking at it and saying, that doesn't look right. And everyone's like, it's fine, it's just a different mix. Lies. Straight lies. I take the shot. That's the last thing I remember clearly. Next thing I know, I'm waking up face down on this man's lawn. Like literally grass imprint on my cheek. One shoe gone, mascara gone, my soul halfway to heaven. I can hear him saying my name like, you good? And I'm like, no, I'm not good. I'm dying. My stomach's doing Cirque du Soleil. I'm throwing up like my ancestors are trying to escape. It's bad. Like really bad. Like, I can feel my eyelashes sweating bad. I'm begging for an Uber. I'm like, please, just call me one, I'll pay. He's like, nah, I can't, you might get banned if you throw up in it. Sir, I don't care about Uber's terms and conditions, I care about my survival. But he refuses. So now I'm just lying there, half conscious, throwing up on this man's lawn for like 45 minutes. His friends are there too, watching like it's a performance. One of them literally said, yo, she good? And the other goes, nah bro, she's fighting demons. At some point he's like, let me help you inside. And he tries to pick me up from behind and listen. This is so embarrassing I can't even say it without laughing. I farted. Like loud. Like the kind that echoes in the quiet. Dead silence. He freezes. I freeze. His friend coughs. I'm mortified. I wanted the earth to open up and swallow me. But my body was in full shutdown mode. Like if I was a phone, I was at 1%. He finally gets me inside and I'm like, please, just leave me near the bathroom. But no, he puts me on his couch. Not even the bathroom, not even a trash can nearby. Within 5 minutes, I'm projectile vomiting on his carpet. I try to apologize, but it's just more vomit. His dog is barking. He's panicking. I'm apologizing between dry heaves. It's chaos. He finally gets me into his bed, which sorry, but I was too gone to care, and I pass out. Full coma. I wake up hours later, sun is up, head pounding, mouth dry, covered in shame and regret. My hair smells like tequila and grass. My jeans are damp. I sit up and see his carpet. It looks like a crime scene. There's Gatorade and paper towels everywhere. He's asleep on the couch like he just survived war. I'm so embarrassed, I don't even wake him up. I quietly put on my shoes, found the missing one under the bed, of course, order an Uber, and sneak out like a thief in the morning. I sit in the back of that Uber staring out the window like I'm in a sad music video. The driver's like, "Rough night?" And I'm like, "Sir, you have no idea." I get home, shower for like an hour, block him on everything. I don't even tell my friends until like a week later because I was too mortified. When I finally do, they're like, "Girl, that sounds like you got roofied." And honestly, I don't know. Maybe it was just too many shots. Maybe that green tea wasn't what it was supposed to be. But I'll never know, and that's the scary part. So, this man, I have known him for like 2 years. Not like friends, but we'd crossed paths. He'd done some work on my house once, and the whole time he was doing that work he was low-key flirting, right? And at the time he had a fiancée. Not situationship. Not kinda talking. A whole ring, whole wedding, we picked a venue. And he was still like, "So you got a boyfriend? Sir, be serious." So when he first asked me out, this was a year ago, I said no. Because I'm not doing that. I don't mess with people's relationships. I don't want that karma. I don't want to be at Target and get tackled by a bride. I said no. I was proud of myself. 6 months go by. I run into him again because small town energy, right? He's like, "Oh, we broke up. I'm not with her. I'm getting an apartment." And I'm like, "Okay, good for you." And then he hits me with, "So can I take you out now?" I said no again, because honestly him asking me while he was still engaged was enough for me. That's all the character reference I needed. If you're trying to date while you're engaged, you're gonna try to date while you're with me. Easy math. But then, and this is where I fumbled, he just kept asking. Like once every couple weeks. Not in a creepy way, just in that persistent way guys do where they're like, "I'm still interested." And then fast forward to a couple weeks ago, I was in that lonely girl spiral. You know the one? Where you're like, maybe I'm being too picky. Maybe I should give someone a chance. Maybe everyone can't be that bad. Wrong. They can. So this time when he asked, I said yes. Immediately mistake. Because the second I said yes, this man forgot how to plan. I told him, "I'm free these days, evening works. I don't have any diet restrictions, surprise me." Real easy. Real standard. He goes, "Okay, where do you want to go?" "Sir, you have been asking me for a year. You didn't think one step ahead? You didn't have one restaurant in the chamber? One bar? A coffee shop? You had nothing?" I said, "I don't care. Wherever. You pick." And he goes, "Well, what time?" I said, "Any time after 6. He goes, "Well, what day works better?" I said, "Any day." I just said I was free. We go back and forth like this for days. Every day he texts, "So where are we going?" And I'm like, "Are you dating me, or am I dating me? Plan something." Finally I was like, "Okay, 7 p.m., this place. Done." I literally planned the date he has been begging for. That should have been red flag number, 47. Day of the date I pull up. I see him in the parking lot. He's on the phone. And not just on the phone, he is yelling. Full volume, cussing somebody out. I'm standing there like an idiot waiting to be greeted, and he's like, "No, you not gonna do that to me, you hear me?" Real loud. Real aggressive. I'm like, okay, cute. I stand there. And stand there. And stand there. Felt like 10 minutes. It was probably like 60 seconds, but it felt long because I'm just in the wind waiting. Finally he hangs up and I go, "Everything okay?" And he immediately goes, "Yeah, my ex is crazy." Excuse me? Police Scarlight, Police Scarlight, Police Scarlight. Every man who says my ex is crazy, unprompted, is the problem. Every single one. I don't care. If all your exes are crazy, maybe you are the common denominator king. But I'm like, whatever, I'm already here, we can just eat and I can go home. We sit down. Waiter comes over. He's training a new girl. She's sweet, a little nervous. She goes, "Hey guys, I'm training today, so I really appreciate your patience." You know, cute. And this man, the one who has been begging to see me, looks her dead in the face and goes, "Yeah, I can tell." I literally wanted to crawl under the table. I looked at her and was like, "You're doing great, don't worry." Because I worked retail, I work service, I know how that feels. And he rolls his eyes. I was like, oh, so you're one of those. You're rude to service people because your personality is empty. From there it just kept getting worse. We order, food comes, and he spends the entire time talking about other women. Not in a reflective, this is what I learned way. In a let me tell you what's wrong with them way. He's like, my ex was nuts. This other girl I went out with? Total catfish. She was like 100 pounds heavier than her pics. I literally stopped eating. I was just staring at him like, do you know you're telling this to another woman? Like, to my face? On a date? He kept saying, women nowadays. Sir, I am women nowadays. Every time I tried to talk about anything, work, hobbies, even his own damn job, he would circle back to his ex. She'd still be calling me. She'd still be starting drama. She's obsessed. And yet you were the one screaming on the phone in the parking lot, sir. Make it make sense. The whole dinner was like 37 minutes. I swear. Fastest dinner I've ever had. Like we sat, ordered, ate, paid, left. I was like, oh, you were trying to speedrun this. Which, cool, I wanted to leave anyway. Check comes. He grabs it. Now I have this thing. If the date is bad, I will offer to pay because I don't want you to feel like I owe you anything. I don't want you thinking I owe you a kiss or a hug or a second date because you bought me chicken Alfredo. I will pay to escape. So I was like, I can get it. He goes, no, I got it. I'm like, okay, thanks. Then I peek at the receipt. It was like $47. Man gives a 50 and closes it. I said, I know you did not just tip this girl $2.17 after you were rude to her. I know you didn't. So in my head I'm like, I'm coming back in there after he leaves to tip her properly because I cannot live like this. We go outside. He walks me to my car. I'm being polite like, okay, nice seeing you, thanks for dinner. I go in for the like, by hug, real quick, church hug. This man goes, can I get a kiss? I said, no. He said, oh, you a prude. Slightly smiling face. No, I just don't like you. There's a difference. I got in my car, I watched him get in his. Before I even got out the parking lot, he texted me like, guess there won't be another date then. Like, sir, you got there. You solved the puzzle. Correct. I looped back in, went inside, found the trainee girl, gave her real tip money, and apologized on behalf of the patriarchy. She laughed and said, girl, it's okay. You should have seen him last time. Last time. So it wasn't even just me. He's just like that. So I'm in Minneapolis, right? It's cold 80% of the year, so whenever it's nice out for 5 minutes we all go feral and start dating again. I was on Bumble doing my little swipe, and I see this guy, and I cannot even lie, he was hot. Like hot hot. Tall, shaved head, tattoos, good smile. Not Minnesota nice boy. More like lives in NE, listens to indie bands in basements, rides a bike to work, probably makes his own pickles hot. Bio says something like, partnered, ethically non-monogamous, girlfriend is amazing, we're open to dating separately or together sparkles. Which okay, people do that. I'm not anti-poly. I'm anti-mess. There's a difference. So I swipe right because curiosity killed the cat, and also I was bored. We match. Conversation is good. He's like, yeah, I really like to meet one-on-one before bringing my girlfriend in, make sure vibes are good. That actually made sense to me. Like, why drag her out if I'm weird? So we set a date. Sunday, 2 p.m., cute cafe by that waterfall park we all know. Bright daylight, public, safe. I told my friend, dropped my location, all the usual. Sunday comes. I am on time because I'm a good person. I'm literally pulling into parking when I get a text from him. Hey, just a heads up, my girlfriend is kind of spiraling about this. Sir? 2 p.m. on a Sunday, and she's already spiraling? We're not even at the hello. I'm literally 100 feet away. I text back like, do you want to reschedule? I don't want to cause drama. Because I don't. I'm not showing up to be the main character in your open relationship breakup. He's like, no, it's fine, I just feel bad, I'll tell you when I get there. I'm like, okay, I'm already parked, my eyeliner is on. I might as well hear what the drama is. I walk over to the little bench area by the park. It's cute, kids running around, couples walking dogs, people taking photos by the little waterfall thing. Very wholesome. I brought snacks. Perfect place to have a nice first date. This man pulls up and immediately I was like, oh no. Because it's 2 p.m. and he is already drunk. Not tipsy. Not, I had mimosas. Drunk. Eyes bloodshot, talking just a little too loud, hair messy, walking like the grounds on a slope. And he's holding, I am not kidding, a metal flask. At 2 on a Sunday. And it's dented. And it has initials on it. Which tells me, this is a well-loved flask. This is a daily driver. This flask has seen things. He hugs me too long and goes, hey. Sorry. Crazy morning. And I'm like, what happened? Because I'm trying to be nice. I shouldn't have asked. That question opened the floodgates of hell. Instead of saying, my girlfriend's nervous about this, like a normal person, he goes, my mom called me and she said some really heavy shit, and also my girlfriend's mad, and also I'm just like behind on everything, you know? And I'm like, we just met. We have known each other in person for 40 seconds. This is a drinks at 7 conversation, not a sun is still up conversation. He sits, takes a swig from the flask, looks around like he's checking if his girlfriend is gonna materialize from the bushes. I'm watching him like, what is happening? I go, so, what's going on with your girlfriend? Because hello, I'm not trying to get jumped in a park. And he goes, yeah, so she's kind of spiraling. She's just like, why do you need to meet her alone? Why can't I come? And I was like, well, because you get jealous. I said, oh, so the ethical part of your non-monogamy is in beta testing. Got it. Then he does the worst thing. He takes another swig and goes, honestly, me and her both have like a drinking problem. Says it like he's saying we both like chili. Very casual. We just love to vibe, you know. Vibe? At 2 p.m. with a flask in a public park? There are toddlers. Then he goes, I kinda made it worse though. I said, how? He goes, I was talking about you and I got her really worked up. I said, what do you mean talking about me? He said, I told her what I wanted to do to you. Slightly smiling face. Sir. In the park. In broad daylight? With a dragonfly flying past? I said, like in detail? He said, yeah, I thought it would get her excited, but it kinda pissed her off. And then, this man starts repeating it. To me. Out loud. At 2:06 p.m. On a bench. With an old couple walking past us. He's like, so I told her I wanted to. And I said, nope. I literally put my hand up like a crossing guard. Nope. You don't need to say it. Please don't say it. He's laughing like, you're shy. I'm like, no, I'm in a park. He keeps talking. Now he's trauma dumping about his mom. She doesn't understand me. She doesn't understand Polly. She thinks I'm just sleeping around. I'm like, do you think you're just sleeping around? He goes, no, I'm building community. Babe, you have a flask. Then he goes into money. Of course. All men trauma dump in the same order. Mom, money, mental health. He goes, I don't even know how I'm gonna pay my rent this month. That's why I was like, it'd be kinda cool if we could all just like live together. I said, who is all? He said, me, you, and her. I said, after 7 minutes? He's like, well, you said you were gonna buy a house. Because I said offhand, I'm trying to buy a house this year. So like, we could rent with you. This man tried to move into my imaginary house. That I do not own yet. Off of 1 Bumble match and 1 park bench. I Nako. And the whole time, this was the creepiest part, he kept looking over my shoulder. Like genuinely checking. I was like, is your girlfriend gonna pop out like a raccoon? Am I in a hidden camera show? He goes, nah, I just don't know if she's gonna show up. Excuse me? You invited me here knowing she might run up. That's when I was like, absolutely not. I don't do park brawls. I don't do drunk girlfriend in a sundress energy. I don't do that. Then he says the thing that made me stand up. He goes, she was mad because I told her exactly what I'd do to you. Like if I had you right now. And starts again to describe it with his little drunk eyes, and I just went, okay. I gotta get the fuck away from you. I said it exactly like that. Out loud. I didn't even sugarcoat it. I stood up, grabbed my bag, started walking. Because no, I'm not sitting in a park at 2 p.m. listening to a man with a flask and a girlfriend tell me his sexual fan fiction. And he YLLS actually yells like I'm across the park. It's fine. At least I'm functioning. I turned around like, are you functioning? Because you forgot step 1 of polyamory, which is don't make your girlfriend jealous on purpose. You forgot step 2, which is don't be drunk at 2. You forgot step 3, which is don't tell strangers sex stuff in public. I got in my car, locked the doors, texted my friend. I just went on a 7-minute throuple date. And she was like, of course you did. So context, right? I moved here from Miami like 3 years ago. Didn't know nobody, no cousins, no girlfriends, no hey girl let's go out. nothing. And when you move to a new city as a grown woman, you either sit in the house and talk to your plants or you download the apps. So I downloaded the apps. I don't even remember which one it was. It was one of them. Maybe it was that AI one that picks for you. I don't know. Point is, I match with this dude. We're gonna call him Ryan because, yeah. So Ryan is like, pull up, we'll grab some drinks. And I'm like, you know what, cool, because what else was I gonna do? I don't got no friends here. I can't keep going to Target for enrichment like I'm a zoo animal. So I'm like, let me go get a drink. We meet at this spot. It's one of those bars that's shaped like a horseshoe. You know what I mean? Like the bar goes around, and everybody kind of faces everybody. Which normally I like because I like to people watch, but on this particular day, that setup ruined my life. Cause where we sat was dead in the middle, so literally everybody in there could see us. If something happened, if somebody tripped, if somebody proposed, whatever, center stage, that's important. So we sit down, we order, we're just doing first date talk. What do you do? Where are you from? You like DC? And it's cool, he's talking, I'm talking, bartender's doing his thing. About maybe 5 minutes in, I'm not exaggerating, it was fast. I look out the window and I see this woman standing outside. Now let me paint her for you, because y'all gotta see her. Thick, not fat, but thick, like she picks stuff up. Brown skin, little bob, ray all short, like that, I don't play with nobody bob. She got tattoos, she got on Cookie Monster pajama pants. I swear, you know the girl I'm talking about. The girl that will fight at 2 p.m. Real hood. I literally gripped my purse a little bit, not even gonna lie. And the craziest part, sis had 2 suitcases. Not bags, suitcases. Like she just got off a Greyhound to come whoop somebody. So I clock her. I'm still talking to Ryan, but I clock her because women be knowing. And I'm like, okay, weird, but DC be weird sometimes. Maybe she homeless, maybe she traveling, I don't know. I turn back to him. I look again, she gone. I'm like, okay, maybe she walked past. Next thing I know, mid-sentence, I'm literally talking about work. I see movement in my peripheral, and this same woman is now inside the bar, walking straight toward us. Not to the bathroom. Not to the host stand. Not to the bartender. To us. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's drunk. Maybe she gonna ask for $1. I'm trying to stay calm. She walks right up to him and she goes, Ryan, you don't see me. And I'm like, huh? 'Cause first of all, how you know his name? Second of all, why you saying it like that? Third of all, why you got luggage? The whole bar goes quiet. You know that quiet where you can hear the ice in the shaker? The bartender literally paused. Everybody is looking at us because again, stupid horseshoe bar. I look at him like, do you know her? And he's doing that guilty smile men do when they about to lie. And she looks at me. I look at her. I'm not reacting cause I'm like, this is not about me. I just met this man. I don't even know his last name. I don't know his sign. I'm innocent. Then she says, loud as hell, I don't got no beef with you. But this is my husband. When I tell you the whole bar said, oh, without saying, oh. My soul left. I said, oh, okay. So this not a little side chick situation. This not, he owe me $40. This is marriage. And I'm on a date with him. In public. At 6 p.m. In DC. On a Wednesday. Jesus. So I'm frozen, right? 'Cause what do you do? Fight her? For who? I don't know this man. I was just bored. I'm literally trying not to laugh because it's so outrageous. And she is not done. Sis bends down, unzips one of the suitcases, and I'm thinking she about to pull a weapon. I'm like, Lord Jesus, cover me. But nah, it's worse. She starts pulling out his stuff. His drawers. In the middle of the bar. She's like, you don't see your drawers? You don't see your stuff? You don't see your lettuce? She pulls out a bag, starts throwing it on the floor. I said, oh, so he a street pharmacist? This is evidence? In front of witnesses? Ryan is sitting there like a toddler that got caught. Red, sweating, eyes everywhere but hers. And she keeps going. You out here on a date? You don't see your wife? You don't see me? Then she turns to me again like, I ain't got no problem with you, mama, but he got me messed up. And I'm like, honestly, same. At this point, the bartender is literally pretending to wipe the same spot, watching. People on the sides got their phones up low-key. I know they do because I would. And then, 'cause of course there's an and then, she starts twerking. Right there. Like, yeah, I caught you, this my husband. Throwing his underwear, throwing his little product, dancing. In Cookie Monster pajamas. With a half grill. 2 suitcases open like a yard sale. So this was 2020, like peak. I just moved here, I don't know nobody. pandemic vibes, everybody lonely, everybody inside. I was not even on Tinder to be cute. I was not trying to be in love. I was not trying to get flued out. I literally just wanted somebody to smoke with because I was bored and I did not want to smoke by myself again listening to the same 3 songs and crying. I'm like, okay, everybody smokes, let me see who's around. So I match this dude, right? And he lives literally down the street from me. I'm like, bet, convenient. We start talking on the app, he seems cool, nothing crazy, regular dude energy. Then he gives me his number, he's like, text me. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And before y'all judge me, yes, we met the same night. I know. But again, pandemic, lonely, no friends, wanted to smoke. It was very much link and smoke energy, not I love you energy. But I'm not dumb, so I didn't give him my address. I said, meet me in the middle. I'm not walking all the way to your house, and you not pulling up to mine. We gon' meet in the middle like responsible adults. So we meet somewhere between our places, sit outside, start rolling up. Vibe is cool. We're talking, getting to know each other. He's telling me he work at UPS, important later. We're laughing, we're like 2 blunts in, it's chill. Then out of nowhere, like literally no transition, no how was your day, no what's your sign, this man goes, can I borrow $40? I literally looked around like, is somebody on speaker? Are you on FaceTime? You talking to me? Because I just met you 27 minutes ago. He said it so casual too, like we was already together, like I was already his girl. I was like, $40 for what? And he goes, my birthday next week, I need $40 to get a haircut. Now listen, I'm a generous person. My therapist says it's a toxic trait. I say it's me being a good person, we still debating. But I was like, your birthday not next week, stop lying. Because men love to make up deadlines to get money. So I go, show me your ID. And this man pulls out his wallet. I was like, oh, you for real? I look, birthday actually next week. October. Scorpio. Of course it's a Scorpio. I should have left right there. Universe gave me a warning, and I said, LOL. So I'm like, okay, it is his birthday, it is 2020, his hair dio look like it needs help. I'm like, alright, I can send you 40, but you gotta pay me back next week when you get paid. Because I also worked at UPS before, I know y'all get paid weekly. I know the schedule. Don't play with me. He's like, for sure, I got you. Then, this man goes, actually, can I get 80? I said, what haircut costs $80? He goes, I'm trying to get a haircut and a bottle for my birthday. Sir, be serious. You want me, a stranger, to fund your self-care and your turn-up? Off one smoke session? But here's the thing, I had it. And like I said, if I got it, everybody around me got it. So I was like, I'm a cash app you 80, but you gotta send it back when you get paid. Next week. Don't play. He's all, yeah, I'm good for it. I work at UPS, I'll hit you, I'll even come through to smoke again. So I send it. Green check. Immediately he's normal. We finish smoking vibe, then we go home. Next day. No text. I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't know him like that, it's cool. Day after that, still nothing. Now it's 48 hours since I sent $80 to a man I don't know, and my messages are green. Not blue, not delivered, not even red. Green. I said, oh, that's what we doing. So I go check his socials. Gone. I go check Tinder. Gone. I go type his number in Cash App. Name changed. I said, oh wow, he blocked me on everything for $80. Not 800. Not rent. Not car note. 80. A Benjamin minus 20. That's disrespectful. And what made me mad was not even the money, because I'm gonna make $80 back. It was the fact that I was actually being genuine. Like I told him, if you can't pay it all back, we can do installments. 10s. 20s. $5 a week. We could have been on a payment plan like Klarna. I would have worked with you. I literally said that in my head like, if he was honest I wouldn't have cared. But he really looked at my loneliness and said, yeah, I can eat off that. That's what hurt. Because 2020 was already hard. Everybody was trying to make new friends, and you met me and said, she kind, let me use her. That's ugly. I was in Boston doing grad school, broke, tired, and occasionally going on these little, I'm bored, let me go out for drinks with a man I'm 60% into dates. You know the ones. Not your husband, not your enemy, just that man you text when you don't want to study. This was that man. We'd hung out maybe 3 times. Real low-key. He was quiet. Like properly quiet. Not shy, not awkward, quiet. Soft voice, always listening, I read actual books energy. Not a bro. Not a loud guy. He dressed nice in that New England way. Brown boots, dark jeans, long coat. Looked like he buys coffee from independent shops. So I was like, okay, harmless. Introvert. Cool. This one night it's raining. Like Boston's sideways cold rain. We had gone out for drinks, and I'm trying to get an Uber home, and every Uber is canceling. Surge pricing, no drivers, the usual foolishness. I'm standing there under this awning, getting damp, and he goes super casual. My place is 2 blocks away. Just come wait for the Uber there. It'll be easier. Now I did get a little twinge. You know that Kenyan Ani voice in your head that's like, Aki, don't enter people's houses. That one. But I looked around. It was wet, it was late, the Ubers kept canceling, and I was like, okay, fine. I know him. We've met. I can leave anytime. Right? We walked to his building. It's one of those older Boston apartment buildings, the kind with the brown carpet that's been cleaned too many times, the smell of old radiator heat, stairwell that echoes. We go up. He opens the door. And immediately, my spirit said, aha. Because the first thing I see, right above the TV centered, lit up by the lamp, is a framed musket. Like not a cute antique, not, oh I like vintage decor. A whole 1700s looking powdered wig. I shot at the British musket. In a glass case. In 2020's Boston. Above the Netflix. I literally stopped. I was like, oh you collect things. He goes all proud, yeah. 18th century colonial. I restored it. Restored it. As in touched it. As in knows how it works. As in could potentially load it. Why do you, a software-adjacent man, have a working colonial firearm above the TV? Then I clocked the rest of the room. And this man's entire personality is war. War paintings on the wall, like actual framed battle scenes. Ships. Cannons. Red coats. It was like living inside a history podcast. The carpet was a little worn right in front of the TV, like he stands there a lot. TV was paused on a true crime doc. Coffee table had 3 books, one on Ted Bundy, one on Inside the Mind of a Serial Killer, and one World War II thing. I said, oh, you a war and murder guy. Now there is loving history. And then there is, I collect weapons and read about men who dismembered people. Those are cousins, but they're not the same. But I still sat down because, again, rain. So I sit, I'm pretending to scroll for Uber, I'm trying to act normal, but I'm cataloging exits like I'm in a self-defense class. Front door behind me. Kitchen to the left. Balcony? No balcony. Okay. We're chatting. He's being normal, honestly. Making me tea. Asking about school. Telling me about work. I start to relax a tiny bit. I'm like, maybe he's just a nerd. Maybe his dad was military. Maybe he likes antiques. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Then his phone rings. Name pops up, it's a woman. And not spam-likely woman. It's a saved name. Not DoorDash. I look down, he looks down, he makes a face like ugh her. He picks up. And this is where my stomach came back stronger. He goes, in that same calm voice, hey. Yeah. No, I can't talk right now. No, I told you not to call me tonight. Yeah, well, you know what's gonna happen. Yeah. Okay. You know what's gonna happen. Sorry? He hangs up. I'm looking at him like, who is that? Because obviously I am going to ask. And he goes super breezy, my ex. She does this. I said, what do you mean she does this? And he goes, she calls when she knows I have someone over. She knows what's gonna happen. She just wants to see if I pick up. I said, what's gonna happen? Slightly smiling face, slightly smiling face, slightly smiling face. And he just smiled. That little, smile. And I said, Aki, I should have trusted my stomach. Because here's the thing, if your ex knows your pattern to the point where she can call and say, you know what's gonna happen, and you're not even hiding me, and you're confident enough to take the call in front of me. You have done this before. Many times. With many women. In that room. Under that musket. At that point I was like, nah. I need to leave. Uber or no Uber, rain or no rain, I am not becoming the girl in the true crime books on the coffee table. So I went into my little actress bag. I grabbed my phone and did the classic. Oh my God. My sister. I have to go. She's locked out. Even put on the concerned face. I start gathering my bag. And he changes. Like, full-on changes. Like someone pulled down a mask. His face goes blank. Voice drops. No smile. He goes low and slow. Well, I can't let you leave this soon now, can I? I froze. Because it didn't sound like a joke. It sounded rehearsed. Like he'd said it before. Like it was part of the script. It came out too smooth. Too easy. And remember, behind him is a wall of war. A gun. Serial killer books. I am in his territory. I am in an apartment I don't know. It's raining. No one knows I'm here except maybe my Uber app. So I laughed. Because sometimes when you're scared you laugh. I was like, haha, no, I actually do have to go. He looks at me for 2 seconds, then does that fake playful. I'm just kidding. But the first version is the real one. The I can't let you leave was the honest one. The I'm kidding was PR. I said, yeah. Well, I'm going. He goes, alright. Hope the elevator's working so you can make it out. With that same little smirk. Now why would you say that? Why would you say, hope the elevator's working, like you know sometimes it doesn't? Like you know sometimes people get stuck. Like you know it's not the safest way down. So I said, oh okay, I'll just take the stairs. I opened that door so fast. I'm walking down the hallway, heart in my throat, trying not to look like I'm running. I get to the stairwell, that old Boston stairwell smell, damp concrete, echo. I start going down. Fast. I'm in boots but I'm flying. Then in my head I'm like, wait. In every movie, the bad guy chases you down the stairs. Stairs are echo why. You can get cornered. So halfway down I'm like, let me get off on a random floor, just in case he comes out. I open a door, step into a hallway. And then it gets weirder. Because as I'm standing there, pretending to check my phone, this old man comes out of one of the flats. Old like 70s, cardigan, house slippers. He looks surprised to see me there. He's like, oh, hello. Do you live here? I'm like, no, just visiting a friend. He smiles, gets closer. Too close. He goes, it's cold out. You can wait in my apartment if you want. Absolutely not. Why in this building is every man weird? Why can't I just go down the stairs in peace? I'm like, no, my sister's downstairs. He reaches for my arm. Not hard, but enough for me to go. Nope. I back up, smile, thank you. And I literally run back into the stairwell. Context. We'd been chatting for like 10 days. Proper chatting as well, not just WID and you up. Voice notes, morning texts, random memes. He was consistent. You know when a man is love bombing but still inside the app. That. Every day. Morning gorgeous. How's work, babe? I bet you look unreal today. And I'm not gonna lie, it was nice. I work, I come home, I mind my business. It was nice to have someone say, I'm excited to see you. He had an accent as well, that proper T-side/northeast thing. You read, class that, all of that, and I was like, okay, cute. Bit north, bit rough, but cute. He told me he was working down south on a construction site in Belvedere for a bit, staying in Erith. Straight away I was like, Middlesbrough to Erith is a mad journey to come and stress women, but okay. He's like, nah babe, I like London girls, you lot are mint. Red flag number 1, because why do you have a location preference for women? But I ignored it because I'm silly. Anyway, we plan to meet. 8 p.m., I book it in my head. I even do makeup. I even put on jeans that button. That's commitment. Day of the date? Man does not text good morning like he normally does. I clocked it. I said, because for 10 days straight he's been morning beautiful, and now on the day you're meant to see me it's silence? Okay. Around midday I message like, we still on for 8? He's like, yeah, white, just mad busy on site. Fine. Men work. Cool. I get there just before 8. Sit down. I'm looking cute. I order a drink. 8:05 nothing. 8:10 nothing. 8:15 he finally texts, I'm running a bit late. No sorry. Just vibes. I said okay. I'm giving it 15. At 8:25 he's like, having a nightmare with Uber. At this point I'm like, brother, just say you wasn't ready. Finally he walks in. And straight away I was like, oh no. You know when a man walks in and the energy is frantic? He came in sweating. Like he just did a sprint. Hair messy, jacket half off, sniffing. And not like hay fever sniff. Like sniff sniff. Eyes darting, talking fast. He goes, you alright, you mint you. Kisses me on the cheek straight away, grabs my cheek, like full hand on my face, and I don't even know you yet. I'm like, relax, it's okay, hi. He sits down, flags the waiter and goes, Sambuca. Double. I said, double Sambuca? On a first date? On a school night? That's coke behavior. He sits right next to me, not across, and goes straight into talking about himself. Didn't even ask, how was your day? Nothing. Immediate monologue. So yeah, I'm down here working, I've got the lads up there, we're smashing the job. I've got 2 kids up north, lads 15, girls 7. I miss them, but I'm grafted in. I'm trying to get a gaff down here too. People down here love me, they do. All in one breath. I'm just sipping my drink like MHM. Okay. Every 30 seconds, sniff. Wipes his nose. I'm like, okay Luke. Sure. I try to bring it back to a conversation. I'm like, so how long you been in London? He goes, I don't worry about that, you're sexy you. Sir, answer the question. I ask what he does actually, like what his role is. He's like, I told you, construction babe. Okay, but which part? Bricklaying? Site manager? Forklift? Spirit of construction? He just keeps talking about how everyone on site rates him. At one point the waitress, sweet girl, blonde, probably early 20s, comes over to take the order. He doesn't even look at the menu. He's like, just bring me food, love. I'll eat anything. I'm like, no, ignore him. Can I have XYZ and he'll have this? Because we are not about to make her job hard. I smile at her, she smiles back, girl to girl telepathy like, you good? I'm good. We're sitting there, he's inhaled the sambuca, orders another drink, still talking. Still no questions for me. Not where I work, not where I'm from, not what I like. Nothing. Just you're mint, you're sexy. I proper like you me. I seen your pics and I said yeah. I'm like, Luke, you don't know me. He goes, I know enough. I said, okay, but you have not asked me one question. Dates go 2 ways. He looks at me, swear to God, and goes, I don't need to ask you questions. I've already decided I like you. I said nah. This one's mad. Because that's not romance, that's possession. That's, I chose you so you don't have to speak. And also, how can you decide you like me when all you know is the angles I posted? I could be a murderer. He keeps doing little touches as well, hand on my thigh, rubbing my back, grabbing my chin to talk to me. And we've known each other in person for 12 minutes. I keep moving his hand like, relax. He keeps sniffing. I'm now 85% sure it's coke. About 40 minutes in, maybe not even, he goes, gonna nip out for a vape, back in a sec. I said, okay. Men go smoke, it's fine. He kisses my cheek again, grabs my face again, goes outside. I'm there on my phone, just scrolling. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. 5 minutes. He's not back. I'm not panicking yet. I'm like, maybe he's peeing, maybe he saw someone. Then this blonde woman, mid-30s, Prosecco energy, I run this pub, walks up to me. She goes, love, are you with that bloke? The one in the gray jacket. I'm like, yeah. She goes, he's not coming back, babe. I said, what? She goes, he's just run to a cab. I watched him. He even ducked down in the back seat, so you couldn't see him through the window. I thought I'd tell you. I actually laughed because the image was so pathetic. A nearly 40-year-old man bending down in an Uber, so a woman can't see him. Are you not embarrassed? I said, you're joking? She goes, no babe. Come sit with us till your cab comes. You don't need to sit on your own. Immediately I loved her. Immediately. Girl code. I go sit with her and the man she's with. Turns out, the man is on the same construction site as Luke. I said, oh. He goes, yeah, he's a prick. Just flat. He does this all the time. He's got kids up north, thinks he's God's gift down here, chats up everything, lies to him. He probably thought you weren't going to give him anything tonight, so he's gone. I said, wow. Not even 10 days of talking could save you. She goes, we look after each other in here, love. Can't have women sat waiting for idiots. And I wanted to cry because I just love women. We're chatting, laughing about it now. I told them he'd been talking to me for 10 days. The guy goes, 10 days? He's got a wife up there, probably. I'm like, he said he has kids. He goes, yeah, and a woman. Trust me. I ordered another drink with them. I was calm now. I was safe. But also just baffled. Because how are you DMing me every morning like, good morning, beautiful face, blowing a kiss. And then you go out for a vape and run away. Like? At least do it before I contour. And then, because of course around midnight, he texts. Hey sexy, saws I had to dash, got called back to site XXX. I said, boy, be serious. Called back to site? At 9 p.m.? To do what? Tuck the scaffolding in? Tell the cement goodnight? And why you ducking in the cab then? I matched with Jason, and from the jump there were little off vibes, but not bad enough where you're like, absolutely not. Just little things. He messaged me first. We're talking, he asks what I'm doing this weekend, and I'm like, not much, and he goes, let's grab a drink. I'm like, okay, where? And this man says, first message about the actual date, I don't care where we go as long as they have the game on. Sir, you could have said hi. Like you're asking me on a date and leading with, I need to watch TV during it. I'm already like, well, that's rude. If you want to watch the game so bad, go with your friends. I even said that. I was like, do you want to just hang with your boys then? Because I don't want to sit there and stare at the side of your face. He calls me, says, no, he didn't mean it like that. He just didn't want to miss the game, but he's so excited to meet me. I'm like, all right, whatever, benefit of the doubt. So we pick a bar. I get there first. Bar is dead. Like, it's Giving Tuesday at 4 p.m. energy. There's a dude in the corner playing guitar for no one. The bartender is bored. There's like 3 people total. I'm literally laughing to myself like, okay, this is awkward, but at least I look cute. I was wearing jeans, cute top, hair done, little perfume, like I did not show up dusty. He walks in. We say hi, hug, it's fine. He's not ugly. Not Prince Charming, but not ugly. We sit down, we order drinks, we're talking, it's fine. Not amazing, not awful. I notice he keeps glancing up at the TV though, and I'm like, there it is. The game. The real date. After maybe 15 to 20 minutes, I'm like, do you want to go to this other place? It's literally 5 minutes away, way more lively, they have TVs, but like actual people too. He's like, yeah, sure. So I pay for my drink, tell him, just follow me. He says okay. We walk out, I get in my car, he gets in his car. I start driving. I can see him in my mirror, right behind me. We get to the first light. I turn right, and this man, I swear to God, makes a full U-turn and goes the opposite direction. At first I thought I was tripping. I was like, oh, maybe he missed the turn. Maybe his GPS glitched. Maybe he has to get gas. I pull into the parking lot of the second bar, and I wait. And wait. And wait. Like 5 minutes. 10 minutes. I text him, hey, did you miss the turn? No answer. I call him. No answer. I'm sitting there in the car like a clown with my lip gloss on, watching cars go by. It hits me. This man just left. Like actually left. Didn't wave, didn't roll down the window, didn't say, hey, something came up. Didn't even fake an emergency. Just turned around mid-drive like I was a wrong exit. So now I'm mad. Not even sad. Mad. Because like you could have said, hey, not really feeling it. You could have said, you didn't look like your pics. You could have said, I thought we'd vibe more. People do that. People are allowed to say no. But to ditch me literally on the way to the next place? Like I'm a DoorDash order you canceled? That's evil. I text him again. Where did you go? Because I wanted him to know I noticed. I didn't want him to think he snuck off. No answer. I'm like, okay, bet. I go home. I tell my best friend, we laugh, I block him in my mind, end of story. Or so I thought. Tell me why. At 3:04 a.m., my phone goes off. I'm thinking it's a notification, I look, it's him. This man texts, and I quote, yeah, I just wasn't really feeling it. You didn't look how I thought. From a man with fish pictures. You didn't like how I looked. You had the audacity to not like how I looked? I was so mad I actually laughed. Because I had just taken a shower, done my skincare, I was cozy in bed, and here comes this man from 5 hours ago telling me I wasn't cute enough to finish a date. So I texted him back and I said, you could have said that like an adult at 8 p.m. Ditching someone in traffic is rude. And he goes, I didn't want to make it awkward. Sir, you think leaving me on the road wasn't awkward? You think watching the person you were just on a date with drive away alone isn't awkward? That's actually the most awkward. And here's the thing that annoys me the most. I know I looked like my pictures. Like I know I did. My hair was the same, makeup was the same, everything. You know what I didn't look like? The fantasy he built in his head. That's what happened. He saw hot girl on the app. He imagined some IG baddie with a BBL and lashes to the ceiling. And then when I showed up looking like a normal, cute, real human woman, he was like, oh, that's not a me problem. That's a you only date filters problem. And the way he said it, didn't like how you looked. Not we didn't vibe. Not chemistry wasn't there. Not I didn't feel a spark. Straight up insult. That's what bothered me. Because you can tell the truth without being mean. You can say, hey, I'm gonna head out, before the girl follows you to another bar. You can at least pretend to be respectful. I ended it with good luck on your dating journey, thumbs up, medium skin tone, because I'm classy. I hope he's doing terrible though. So this happened last year, back when I was still giving men the benefit of the doubt, dark times. I had just gotten out of a situationship and was in that Let me just go on one normal date, nothing serious, just to prove they're not all feral mood. So I get back on Hinge. And this man, we'll call him Evan, messages me. Cute, simple opener, not weirdly flirty. He's got normal-looking photos, hiking, a dog, a graduation pic. He's got a job, he spells words right, he looks like someone who might say, "Excuse me," when he sneezes. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this one won't ruin my life. We text for like a week, and it's fine. He's a little dry, but that's normal. Not everyone's a comedian. He asks if I want to grab a drink. I'm like, sure, it's a Friday night, I'll put on my little jeans, I'm not trying but I am top, and see what happens. He picks this sports bar downtown. I walk in and he's already there. First thing I notice, he looks exactly like his photos, which is rare. So I'm like, okay, cool, no catfish. He stands up, gives me a little awkward side hug, all good. We sit down, waitress comes over, asks what we want to drink. I order a margarita. This man orders a glass of milk. I said, "Excuse me?" He repeats it. "Milk. Whole milk if you have it." The waitress looks at him, looks at me, looks back at him like maybe she misheard. He's dead serious. "Milk." She goes, "We might have half and half." And he's like, "That's fine." So now I'm sitting across from a grown man drinking half and half on ice like it's a cocktail. He's sipping it slow too, like he's savoring it. I'm trying not to judge because maybe he's got heartburn, maybe he's allergic, I don't know. But also milk. On a first date? In public? I'm like, "So, you really like milk, huh?" Trying to make it a joke. And he goes, "It's good for your bones." Deadpan. No smile. No laugh. Just serious. I'm like, okay, calcium king, do your thing. We start talking, small talk stuff, work, family, whatever. He's kind of boring but harmless. I can deal with boring. But then this group of dudes at the bar start yelling at the TV because there's a football game on. They're loud but not crazy. Just typical bar energy. And Evan keeps looking at them. Like staring. Hard. I'm mid-sentence talking about my dog and he's not even listening, just glaring at these guys. I go, "You good?" And he goes, "Yeah. Just watching the game." Except his jaws clenched like he's about to do calculus with his anger. The dudes at the bar cheer again. Someone must have scored, and Evan slams his glass down. Milk splashes everywhere. On the table, on me, on him. I jump. I'm like, "Whoa, what happened?" He goes, "They're being disrespectful." "Sir, they're literally watching sports. You're the only person in here drinking milk and glaring at strangers. Who's disrespectful here?" I try to calm him down. "It's fine, they're just celebrating." He goes, "No. That one just said something to me." Now I'm like, what? I didn't hear a thing. He stands up, walks toward them. I'm whispering, "Please no, please no, please no," under my breath like a prayer. He walks right up to one of the guys and goes, "You got something to say to me, bro?" The guy's like, what? Because he truly doesn't know what's happening. Evan goes, "I heard you. You think you can talk about me in front of my girl." My girl. I just met this man 40 minutes ago. I'm still learning his middle name. The guy at the bar laughs because it's absurd. He's like, "Dude, nobody said anything about you." Evan shoves him. Milk residue is still on his sleeve. The guy shoves him back. Chaos. Full chaos. The bartender's yelling, "Hey, knock it off." People are pulling out phones. I'm frozen because what am I supposed to do? Do I break it up? Do I call 911? Do I just leave? Before I can decide, one of the bar guys swings. Evan swings back. A chair falls over. Somebody spills beer. I hear a woman scream. I'm standing there like, I can't believe this is my life. Security comes running in. They pull them apart. Evan's yelling like, "He disrespected me." The guy's like, "He threw milk at me." And I'm like, technically that was an accident, but still. Security tells Evan to leave. He's arguing. I'm trying to smooth it over because I have anxiety, and also because I don't want to be associated with this mess. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, he's just had too much calcium tonight," trying to make light of it, and nobody laughs. They escort him out anyway. Now it's just me sitting alone at the table, with milk on my jeans, and everyone's staring at me like, "Are you with him?" And I'm like, "Not anymore." I text him later just to say, "Hey, that was intense. Hope you're okay." Because I'm trying to be the bigger person. He replies, "You didn't have my back." I said, "Have your back? You started a fight with strangers because they were cheering for a touchdown." He goes, "A real woman would stand by her man." Sir, you are not my man. You are a man who drinks milk and picks bar fights over imaginary insults. So I block him. Obviously. I think that's the end of it. Next morning, I wake up to a DM request on Instagram. It's from one of the bar guys. He goes, "Hey, just letting you know your boyfriend got arrested last night." I'm like, "My what?" He sends a picture, like actual mugshot screenshot, and says he came back after they kicked him out. Tried to fight the bouncer. I just stared at it. I was like, this man really went to jail because of milk and ego. I didn't even finish my margarita. Then I remember, oh no, he drove there. So now I'm paranoid, like, did he get a DUI? Does that mean he had milk in his system? Do they even have a test for that? I'm spiraling. Later that day, I get a text from a random number. "Hey, it's Evan, can you bail me out?" I almost dropped my phone. I said, "Sir, we went on one date." He goes, "Yeah, but you seemed like you cared." "Yeah, I cared when I thought you were sane. I cared before the lactose rampage." I tell him no, obviously, and he sends a sad face emoji. Like, "Sir, this is not a Facebook status. This is county jail." I'm not proud of it, but I've always had a soft spot for the mysterious type. The kind of guy who looks like he's got a story behind every tattoo and a past filled with shadows. So when I came across Cashin on Bumble, I was immediately hooked. He had this look, sharp jawline, eyes that could read you like poetry, and a body that looked like it had been sculpted out of adrenaline and bad decisions. His profile was minimal. A few moody black and white photos and a one-line bio. Ask me anything, but don't expect straight answers. I rolled my eyes at the cliché, but I swiped right anyway. To my surprise, we matched. Cashin messaged me almost immediately. That was a first. Most guys on Bumble wait, or worse, never reply. But not him. He was charming, effortlessly engaging, and asked real questions about my hobbies, my background, my music taste. Most guys lead with small talk, or worse, unsolicited photos. Cashin? He made me feel like the most fascinating person in the world. We messaged for about a week. The chemistry was undeniable. We joked, flirted, even shared a few late-night confessions. He told me he'd done some time in county jail, 18 months, to be exact. Wrong place, wrong time, he said. Some guy got stabbed, and I got caught in the middle of it. Now, a lot of people would have hit the block button right there, and maybe I should have. But instead, I found myself thinking about how flawed the justice system is, how people get caught up in things that aren't always their fault. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that someone who carried so much pain in his voice could still be good. So when he asked to meet, I said yes. We met at an open-air bar downtown. It was one of those places with string lights overhead and live music playing softly in the background. Cashin looked even better in person, tall, confident, and yes, every bit the tattooed heartbreaker I'd imagined. But he didn't act like one. He was polite, paid for everything, made sure I was comfortable. He made me laugh. And even better, he listened. Most guys spend the whole date talking about themselves. Cashin wanted to talk about me. He asked about my childhood, my dreams, and my weekend guitar gigs. When I told him I played classical guitar with a flamenco influence, his eyes lit up. "That's beautiful," he said. "Your passion is captivating." It was the kind of compliment that didn't feel rehearsed. It felt genuine. I melted. We spent hours talking. He walked me to my Uber like a gentleman. We stood there in the soft glow of the streetlight, just smiling at each other. I was debating whether or not to kiss him when he said something that made my stomach drop. "If I wanted you to always remember me," he said, completely serious, "I'd break your ring fingers. That way, every time you played guitar, you'd think of me." He smiled after he said it, like it was a joke. But I didn't laugh. I just stared at him, trying to figure out if he really meant it. He chuckled awkwardly and added, "I'm kidding." Obviously. But I'd heard that tone before, from an ex who once told me I had the thighs of a linebacker, and then tried to pass it off as humor when I got upset. It's the kind of comment that's meant to hurt, but wrapped in just enough sarcasm to make you question your reaction. I didn't call him out on it right then. I just smiled politely, gave him a quick hug, and got in the car. He texted me that night, and the next day. I responded, but I never really engaged. Something about his comment kept looping in my head. I told a few of my closest friends about it. They were horrified. They called it a red flag. A major one. But I kept trying to rationalize it. Maybe he really was joking. Maybe he just had a weird sense of humor. Then I saw a post in a local Facebook group for women in my city. It's a private group where we warn each other about creepy experiences, bad dates, street harassment, that kind of thing. The post had started gaining traction. A screenshot of a Tinder profile and a long caption underneath. The man in the photo, Cashin. The woman who posted it said that she'd gone on a date with him. He'd been charming, smooth. She'd also mentioned how he seemed a little too intense, but had tried to brush it off. Then, when she refused to go back to his place, he got angry. Really angry. He grabbed her wrist, said something threatening, and when she called him out on it, he slapped her. She'd reported it. The police got involved. He was rearrested for violating probation. Only the reason he was on probation wasn't what he told me. It wasn't just a bar fight where someone got stabbed. He'd been convicted of indecent assault. Reading that post, I felt like I'd swallowed ice. That night, I went through our messages again, trying to spot the signs I'd missed, or worse, ignored. I realized I'd fallen for a filtered version of someone who wasn't just edgy or damaged. He was dangerous. The next day, I blocked his number, deleted his messages, removed him from every app. For a while, I felt guilty about ghosting him. But after reading that post, I realized I hadn't ghosted him. I'd protected myself. Sometime later, I learned that the Facebook group had worked with local authorities to press charges. Cashin was back in jail. This time for longer. I think back on that one sentence often, the one about the ring fingers. It's become a kind of metaphor for recognizing warning signs. They don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper. Sometimes they're wrapped in compliments. But they're there. And if someone tells you who they are, believe them the first time. I've always considered myself a pretty average guy when it comes to relationships. I've had a few serious ones, a few casual ones, and a whole lot of awkward first dates that never led to anything. Like most people navigating the dating app landscape, I bounced between Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble, hoping to stumble across someone who didn't make me want to delete the app after 3 messages. Eventually, I matched with someone who really caught my eye. Her name was Saria. She wasn't like the others. Her profile had personality, no duck-face selfies or quotes from The Office. Instead, it showcased her artwork, a few candid photos, and a line that read, "I like stories that don't have happy endings." Edgy? Sure, but intriguing. We started chatting, and I was pleasantly surprised by how quickly the conversation moved past surface-level stuff. She was sharp, creative, and had this quiet confidence that made her incredibly magnetic. We talked about movies, books, music, and eventually her passion for anime. Now, I wasn't an anime guy. I hadn't seen anything beyond a few episodes of Dragon Ball Z in high school. But she was really into it, especially the art. She talked about how expressive it could be, how it pushed creative boundaries. I listened, genuinely interested, not just in the subject, but in the way she lit up when she talked about it. After a few dates, which were all surprisingly normal and sweet, she invited me to her apartment. We had dinner, watched a documentary, and ended up cuddling on the couch. Things got a little steamy, but before it went too far, she pulled back, smiling but serious. "Wait here," she said. She disappeared into her bedroom and came back a few minutes later with her laptop. "I want to show you something," she said. I thought maybe she was showing me her digital artwork. She'd mentioned she did some freelance illustration, and I expected to see a portfolio. Instead, she opened a folder filled with anime-style images. They were suggestive but not obscene. Stylized drawings of women in elaborate costumes, some in feline-like poses, others with fantasy elements, horns, wings, that kind of thing. It was bold, detailed, and honestly kind of impressive, but definitely sensual. She looked at me, trying to read my reaction. "You're the first person I've shown this to," she said. "It's something I've wanted to explore more, but it takes the right kind of person." I nodded. It was different, sure, but not alarming. I'd never been with someone with a kink for illustrated aesthetics, but hey, no judgment. We talked a bit more, then she invited me to sleep over, not for anything physical, just to stay. I agreed. I was comfortable with her, and maybe even a little fascinated. Around 3 a.m., I woke up with that all-too-familiar discomfort, the kind that only a cold apartment and slightly too much wine can bring. I tiptoed out to the living room to grab a glass of water and noticed her laptop still sitting on the coffee table, half closed. I shouldn't have opened it, but curiosity has a way of overriding better judgment. I tapped the spacebar. The screen lit up, still on the folder she had shown me earlier. I scrolled a little, just to revisit what we'd been looking at. But then I noticed another folder tucked inside that one. The name was just a string of symbols and punctuation, no preview image, no clear label. I hesitated. There was a part of me that said it wasn't my place, that I should close the laptop and go back to bed. But there was another part, a darker, more intrusive whisper, that wanted to know what was hidden. I double-clicked. At first, it looked like more of the same, anime-style images. But the tone was different. Darker. The first image I saw was of a girl in a vulnerable position, her expression vacant. It wasn't overtly graphic, but it was disturbing. The next image was even worse, similar themes, but with violent overtones that made my stomach turn. I clicked through a few more, hoping it was just one odd subfolder. But the deeper I went, the more twisted it became. The art was still stylized, but the themes were increasingly aggressive, even morbid. One image showed a character with lifeless eyes, surrounded by symbols I couldn't understand. Another looked like a before and after sketch, something terrible implied between the two slides. I closed the folder and sat back, shaken. I wanted to believe it was just fantasy, that it was no different than someone watching a horror movie or reading a dark novel. But there was something unsettling about how much of it she had saved. Dozens of folders, hundreds of files, all organized. And then I saw a folder labeled simply, Recordings. I don't know why I clicked. I didn't want to see more. But something compelled me. Inside were several video files, short clips, all named with random numbers. The thumbnails were black screens with red timestamps, like security footage. I clicked the first one. It started with darkness, then faint movement, a red light blinking in the corner. I couldn't make out much, just shadowy shapes and muffled audio. It didn't look animated. It looked real. I stopped the video. My heart was pounding. I didn't want to keep going. I didn't want to know more. I closed the folder, shut the laptop, and sat there for a long time, staring at the blank screen. Eventually, I returned to bed. I didn't sleep. The next morning, she made breakfast like nothing had happened. She was cheerful, asking how I slept, offering me coffee. I played along, trying to act natural. But my mind was racing. There was a heaviness in the room that she didn't seem to notice, or maybe she did, and just ignored it. I left shortly after, making some excuse about a work call. She kissed me goodbye and said she hoped to see me again soon. I never went back. I blocked her number a few hours later. Deleted her contact. Removed her from Bumble. I didn't confront her. Maybe I should have, but I couldn't bring myself to. I kept thinking, what if I misunderstood? What if it was just art? Just a strange, niche interest? Then I'd remember the folder labeled Recordings. My name is Emma Calloway, and I work up north in Canada as an independent internet researcher. It's not thrilling work, mostly analyzing online retail trends so companies can fine-tune their algorithms. But over the last year, my attention has turned to something more disturbing, catfishing. For those unfamiliar, catfishing is when someone creates a fake identity online to deceive others, often for romantic scams. The dating app one consult for has seen a drop in users, largely due to fears of being catfished. To combat this, I've been creating a guide based on real stories from people who've experienced it firsthand. One of the most unsettling cases came from a young woman in the US. I'll call her Lena. She met a man online who seemed perfect. They messaged constantly, built a relationship, and after nearly a year, she went to visit him. She met his parents, stayed at his apartment, and hung out with his friends. Everything felt real. Then, without warning, he vanished. Lena spent hundreds on a private investigator. Months later, she learned the man had used a false identity and had done the same to multiple women. But the twist? He had been arrested for manslaughter. Another woman he'd been involved with had died during a risky sexual encounter, and he was convicted in federal court. Lena cried during our interview, saying they had talked about trying similar things. "That could have been me," she whispered. Another story came from a young woman named Tasha, an aspiring model. She was approached by someone claiming to be a professional named Jasmine, offering industry advice. Jasmine became a mentor of sorts, and eventually invited her to a lingerie shoot for a Milan-based company. When Jasmine didn't show, Tasha went ahead anyway. The photographer was polite, and she was paid well, so she returned for more shoots. But during the final session, the theme fell off, too provocative with childlike clothing. A year and a half later, she found out the photographer had been arrested for trafficking explicit images. He had posed as Jasmine to lure women into shoots. Though Tasha's photos weren't illegal, they were sold under false pretenses to disturbing buyers. She was devastated. The last story came from a woman who claimed she had once been the catfisher. At 15, she pretended to be someone else and began a relationship with a European boy. When things escalated and he planned to visit her, she panicked and told him she was in a car crash and had lost her legs and memory. Later, she found a Belgian news article about a man who'd taken his own life after a breakup with an online girlfriend. She believed it was him, but offered no proof. These aren't just cautionary tales. They're reminders that deception online can have tragic consequences. Don't trust blindly. Stay alert. And protect yourself. I've always found tattoos attractive. There's something unapologetic about them, like a person carving their story into their skin. So when I matched with a guy named Corvin on Bumble, and every picture showed a different piece of beautifully detailed ink, I was intrigued. His tattoos weren't the typical kind either. No tribal bands or motivational quotes. They were intricate, mythical creatures, ancient symbols, even what looked like poetry scrawled along his ribs. I thought it was artistic, mysterious even. His profile said he was a tattoo artist, and his opening line was, "If you were a symbol, what would you look like on skin?" Cheesy, sure, but it worked. We started chatting, and he was smooth, confident, but not arrogant. He made me laugh, asked real questions, and sent voice notes laced with this gravelly charm that made me want to hear more. After a few days, he invited me to check out the studio where he worked. Not for a tattoo, just to hang out after his shift. I hesitated, of course. Meeting someone for the first time at their workplace, after hours, wasn't exactly my idea of a safe first date. But he promised it was a shared space, and it turned out to be in a well-lit building just off a main street. Not sketchy at all. So I went. He met me outside with a crooked smile and a leather jacket worn in all the right places. Up close, his tattoos were even more stunning. He had them crawling up his neck, wrapping around his fingers, and peeking out from under his shirt collar. I noticed some lettering across his inner arm and asked what it said. He smiled. Names. I laughed, assuming it was a joke. But he didn't laugh back. They're people I've loved, he said. Or at least thought I loved. My smile faltered. All of them? He nodded casually. I believe in honoring the past. He led me inside before I could respond, showing me around the studio. The walls were covered in flash sheets and framed designs. The whole place smelled like antiseptic and clove cigarettes. It was oddly calming. We sat on the couch in the break room, sipping canned iced coffee and talking about tattoos, relationships, and our mutual love of weird documentaries. He flirted, but in a slow, deliberate way. Like he didn't need to rush because he already knew how the night would end. Eventually, things got a little more physical. Nothing graphic, just hands grazing knees, leaning closer when we laughed. I was into it. Then he rolled up his sleeve and showed me more of the names. They weren't grouped together. They were scattered, some small, some large, some hidden within other designs. One name was right above his heart. I asked how many there were. He shrugged. Maybe 11? I've lost count. That's when something shifted. I asked, "Do you cover them when the relationship ends?" He looked at me dead serious. "No, that's the point." I laughed again nervously. "But don't you ever regret it?" He tilted his head. "What's there to regret? They were mine once. They still are." That made me pause. "They still are," I repeated. "Sure," he said. "People leave. But memories don't. The ink makes it real. Keeps them close." It was getting harder to breathe. Something about the way he said it, the way he looked at those names, it wasn't nostalgic. It was possessive. I tried to steer the conversation back to something lighter, but he kept returning to the topic of permanence, of how tattoos were a way to keep people from truly leaving. He said things like, "The body forgets, but the skin remembers, and everyone I've loved lives on here." At one point, he asked what my middle name was. When I told him, he repeated it slowly, like he was already imagining it in ink. "You'd look good in cursive," he said. I froze. "Are you saying you'd tattoo my name?" He smiled. "If this goes somewhere, why not? First names are nothing. Not like full names. Or birth dates. Those are sacred." I stood up, suddenly overwhelmed. "I think I should go," I said. He stood too, but didn't move toward me. "I'm not trying to scare you. I just think people give up on things too easily. Ink makes you stay." I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't want to find out. He didn't follow me as I left. Just watched me walk out the door, his arms crossed over his chest, eyes unreadable. That night, he texted me, "You're the first name I wanted to write before dating. That has to mean something." I didn't reply. The next day, "I keep thinking about how your name would look under my collarbone, right where it's warm." I blocked him. But it didn't stop there. A few days later, I got a message from an unknown number. No words, just a picture. It was a close-up of skin, inked, My name. Not my full name. Just the middle name I'd told him, written in a delicate script across what looked like the inside of a forearm. I stared at the screen, heart thudding. It could have been anyone. Could have been fake. But I knew it wasn't. I almost got attacked over a year ago. I was still dating around before I met my now ex. This skinny, hippie dude pops up. He checks off stoner, artistic, chill, humorous, emotional. My basic standards. Here's where I made a mistake. Instead of planning on meeting publicly, I opted on going to his house. He had roommates and that was good, right? No. We ended up watching Shameless and talking. I did smoke weed, but it didn't leave me unaware of my surroundings. He started talking about his past drug addiction with heroin. Even if he's sober now, it's not for me to have to be worrying about relapse considering my family. But hey, we dug deep. Though at this point, I made my decision to not pursue a thing. Nonetheless, we had a good conversation. But he starts immediately trying to kiss me and push his fingers down my pants. I refused and politely told him that's not what I came for. I reassured him I was just wanting to seek a companion. He seemed to accept that until 5 minutes later when he does it again. I told him no again. I guess the guru over here figured out I'm a rape survivor. I guess he knows who are rape victims and who are not just by them being defensive when he makes a dumbass move. Out of nowhere after, he tells me he was raped too. He said he learned to like it because it was just sex. All it meant was the perpetrator liked you so much that they can't control themselves. I want you to take a wild guess on what he tried to do again. I was able to push his skinny body off of me. It made me feel so strong being able to fight it off this time. I'll give it that. I started slowly walking out trying to distract him by describing my distaste for the Twilight movies. Cheesy, but it saved my ass. I rushed to my car and sped off. I was able to report his account, and I assumed they may have gotten enforcement involved as he never was back on there, and I did mention the attempted rape. It is never your fault if you are put in that situation. You can plan measures to avoid it, but know it is entirely up to a rapist to do that no matter what circumstance. But even as I say this, never ever go to someone's house if you've never met them. Not even if there's weed, not even if they have a cute bunny, not even if they have a clean-ass record. Be safe. A good person will understand these precautions. A bad person will keep coaxing you to do it. Even if you do it and whatever they do is on them, just try to avoid that situation. It's very stressful, risky, and you can be trapped. Don't make the mistake I did. Even if it's not on me, it was not worth the risk. I'm very glad it didn't happen to me again. Obligatory, not a Tinder story, but I feel like people want to read any kind of nightmare story in these uncertain times. Several years ago, I met a girl when I was working at the mall, and we texted for a while. It was going smoothly, so I invited her to a show my band was playing. She agreed to come and see us play, and we were texting pretty consistently right up to the point where she was getting in her car to come to the venue. Then nothing. Complete ghost and no response. I was annoyed, but what can you do? Roughly 6 months later, I get a call and a voicemail from an unknown number. I listen to the voicemail, and it's the girl. Hey Jacques, it's Crystal. I don't know if you remember me, but I was on my way to see your show, and I stopped to get gas and dropped my phone in a storm drain and lost all my contacts. I finally had the idea to go back through my phone bill because I remembered you were from state I'm from, and found your number. If you're still interested, I'd love to make it up to you. Now, you have to understand this was well before the cloud, so you could easily lose all of your contacts just by losing your phone, and I don't remember the exact details of her story, but I'm not sure if she had the transcriptions of the numbers she texted, or if it was from the first time I called her phone to make sure the number she gave me was correct. In any case, TI sounded legit, and I figured I'd at least get an apology so I agreed to meet up with her that weekend. I offer to meet her somewhere, but she insists on picking me up, saying that she owes me big time for meeting me, and that she's so sorry she did that to me. We go out for lunch at a sushi place and have a fine time. She's a little frenetic, but she's obviously nervous and very apologetic. When she insists on paying, I knew she had been thinking about this for months. Afterwards, we go to Starbucks for coffee. She insists on paying there too. She says she needs to stop at Nordstrom, and would I like to come? Sure, I say. Why not? She says she'll buy me anything I want. What? We get to Nordstrom, and she picks up her makeup, and we walk around. We have a little decent banter, but she's constantly offering to buy me things, and since I'm declining, it's getting a bit annoying. This is a nice sweater. I'll get it for you. or haha, look at those shoes. Why? Do you want them? I'll get them for you. It was a bit forced, so I suggest we skip out, and now she wants to take me out for dinner. It's been long enough that I'm okay with it, and she insists on paying there too. Since it's obvious to me she's made her apology, I make an honest effort to pay, and she almost rudely refuses by pushing my card away. At this point, I'm bored with her, and this whole paying for things scheme has run its course. I'm happy to just go home afterwards, so we finish up and she drives me home. On the way back, I'm wondering if I should just follow through. She's cute and obviously interested, and has certainly paid her dues, so to speak. Before I have a chance to decide, she's parked the car and says, "Do you mind if I come up and use your bathroom?" Very clever. The decision has been made for me. She comes up and goes straight to the bathroom. She's in there long enough that I can tell she's nervous. I clean up the place a bit, put on some music, light a candle, etc., and I stand at the end of the hall waiting for her. I have my sexy pose and look ready to go so that she'll see me, and that I mean business, right as she exits the bathroom. The door opens and she sees me and knows it's on. I can see the look change from uncertainty as her eyes meet mine. She walks right up to me, and I immediately get a huge, stinky whiff of poop air from my bathroom. She wasn't in there staring at herself in the mirror to muster up the courage to make the move, nor was she in there unable to resist touching herself at the very thought of our bodies unclothed and pressed against each other in mere moments. She was in there taking a ferociously giant shit, and now the air from around it was in my mouth and nose. I gagged and immediately backed away and told her that it was super nice of her to take me out and that I really appreciated it, and what a funny story, and can't wait to tell people, and I have to go to sleep right away, so bye-bye, see you later, drive safe. I had to kind of push her out the door before running back into the rest of my apartment to open all the windows and light a second, third, and fourth candle, reserved for really sexy nights. I don't remember if we texted much after that, but that smell was forever associated in my mind with her, and all possible sexiness was removed from the situation. I call it Pavlov's log.